Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fireside Chat with Waytat. I am your host, William. Normally, I am the host of the Waytat podcasts, um, but I am also, hopefully, as you know from listening to the other two episodes, I also am hosting this. Just kind of like an opportunity to chill out a little bit more. Um, put out something a little bit slower and calmer on YouTube. Um, and just something to help me get my stuff out. Um, but yeah, that's kind of the deal here. If you haven't been here before, what I do with these episodes is I basically sit down, turn on the mic, and I try to talk for about half an hour, which is actually pretty easy for me. I'm a blabbermouth, and just kind of shoot the shit, honestly. Um, Also, I spin a wheel for a topic each week. If you want to contribute to the wheel, leave a comment down below. Also, make sure to do all the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Also, listen to my podcasts. It would mean a whole lot. I do also want to correct something from the last episode. I don't know if I said the right name for my role playing game. I think I might have said um, Minions, Mutants, and Masterminds. That is not my system, obviously. That is as a system that already exists. Mine is Monsters, Masters, and Minions, and I had entirely forgotten that that other system existed. Until after I came up with a name for mine. Um, so I might end up changing the name of mine just to make it clear that's not the same system. But yeah, at least for now, I'm just referring to it as 3M. Just again as a correction. Um, so yeah, I guess we'll spin this wheel for what I'm talking about this week. Not gonna cheat like I did last time. I spun it again. Okay, so we got to the question: do you watch anime? Um, I hope just from I hope just from listening to some of my episodes, uh, you know the answer to that. I do in fact watch anime. I actually watch a whole lot more of it than I used to. I think that's kind of my preferred thing to watch besides just YouTube videos. Um, and yeah, it's. I guess what I should be talking about is not just like, oh, do you like anime? I should be talking about what I watch. So, I think like most people, I started with shonen. Um, but I actually started when I was a kid. I started off with watching Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't remember which one it was that I watched first. If it was GX or if it was the original Yu-Gi-Oh show. But I started off with those. Might also explain some of my later interests. I also watched Teen Titans, which is heavily anime inspired, and also Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is also heavily anime inspired. And those really shaped like early on the kind of things that I liked. Um, Also, I will say, and I apologize if you're upset about this, but you're wrong. Yu-Gi-Oh was the worst written out of those three. Well, three or four. Both Yu-Gi-Ohs were really, they were shonen. So like the point is not to write like super in depth stories. It's just to write something to bring people in. Um, but actually, after that, I fell off the anime wagon for a while, for a long time, really. Um, and didn't super care a whole lot about it. And then I think it was my last year of high school or first year of college, I decided, like, I think I want to try watching some anime and, like, giving this a chance. And so I decided, like, oh, I should start with watching some, like, classics um that I've missed out on. So I start with Gurren Lagann and did not make it through the first episode. I don't think I've ever watched past like 4 or 5 episodes of that. Um I know if you like that show, that's blasphemy, but um yeah, so I started with Gurren Lagann and then I watched Evangelion, which holy shit. I still don't understand the ending to that. Um, and then I watched a lot of like the Netflix like single season things. Like I watched BNA. I watched Dorohedoro, which Dorohedoro. I don't know if it has a second season or not. I haven't checked. Um, I also watched Death Note, which was it's like one of those shows where I'm glad that I missed it as a teenager because oh man, that would have defined my entire personality. But it's a really good show. I'm surprised that I missed it. Then I also watched I think it's called just Reign of Dragons or something. It's based off of um and it sucks. It's based off of something with the exact same name. I don't remember what it is now. And then I also watched things on there like Beastars, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Because also, if you didn't know, I am a not so closeted kind of furry. um, yeah, I'm really just on the cringe roulette wheel over here. Um, but and then after my experiences with those shows, I kind of realized I didn't really like the selection Netflix had. And I had just started working a job that let me, have some expendable income. So I initially got Verve, and watched shows on there. I watched, like Darling in the Franxx, which, holy shit, that show actually kind of hit me hard. Particularly the pudgy brown haired guy because I kind of related to him, and he had a uh like his partner in the mech was a blonde girl, and at the time when I watched that, I think I was like a year out of a relationship that I hadn't gotten over, and she was blonde, and the entire so I really overinvested in that, and so I really didn't like uh what happened with him, and like the choices that were made in the show. But I think looking back on it, it was I don't want to say it's a great choice because the show is like okay, and like I understand why people love it, but I don't know if it was really the show for me. Um, but then I also watched shows like Fire Force. Um, that was a more recent one, but that's a good example of like the kind of things I was watching. Where I would watch like a shonen, and I need something to like kind of wind down because I can't stand shonen back to back to back. So I would watch something a little bit less shonen-y. Usually something a little bit more dramatic or like horror centric. And then go back and watch another shonen. Um, I watched My Hero, which I gotta say I think I agree with a lot of other people that watch that show. It's a fun show, but it is a show where under no circumstances should you ever interact with the community. Um, I will say, like, if you decide, I think we're gonna give the show a chance. I've heard a lot about it. The one thing I don't want you to ever even consider doing is interacting with any part of the community. Even the parts of the community that don't seem hostile, are hostile. uh, I know that from experience. Just enjoy the show, and let it take on whatever adventure you want to go on. Um, see, I also really got into Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer was a lot of fun to watch. And then more recently, I have watched shows like Chainsaw Man, um, Jujutsu Kaisen, and I at some point decided I wanted to give other kind of shows a try. So I started pushing a little bit out more. Because I started with like pretty action centric shows. Even like Death Note's pretty action centric. And the first one that I really started to like branch out into things that were a little bit calmer, was actually this is gonna sound weird to people that watch anime, but it was actually Spy X Family, um, which I actually haven't finished because it's one of those shows that's almost like so cute and sweet that it feels a little poisonous. Um, like I can't handle watching too much of it at one time. But as I was watching that, I realized like, oh yeah, this is like a kind of thing that I enjoy. And so I was looking through my list and I was like, oh, well, this seems like a good show. And I started watching the Ancient Magus' Bride, which is I I really have enjoyed that show. I think it's really cute and wholesome, and also fucking terrifying, which is fun. Um, I also do like how like most of the like actual like fighting conflict is resolved like fairly quickly, and without too much collateral damage. Um, and it's just it's a lot of fun. Um, I am still currently watching episodes of it, as they come out. Um, let's see. I also, um while I was waiting for more episodes of that to come out, I also watched Tomo-chan is a Girl and Dress Up Darling, and I gotta say, as much as I think some of my friends think it's stupid, I think I actually prefer like the kind of like slice of life like drama romance shows to a lot of the shonen, and a lot of the action shows. Because a lot of the action shows are this is this is gonna get some people mad. A lot of the action anime is really really cliched and really like copy paste, and I think probably one of like the greatest ways to demonstrate that is that so My Hero was praised for kind of flipping the tournament arc on its head when that season came out, and it's also been praised for flipping on its head the trope of like the unemotional shonen protagonist. And I think it deserves the praise for those. But it is so fucking shonen that sometimes it hurts me to watch because they still have like the power of friendship speeches and like the which are also awesome while you're watching it because I can sit here as much as I want and be like, oh, it's kind of overplayed and cliched to have those power friendship speeches, but I also fucking cry every single time because I'm also a big blubbering baby about it. So, like I take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. I fucking love those speeches, and a lot of the tropes I do enjoy, but it's just one of those things where it takes me out of it for a second as I'm realizing, like, oh, I know exactly what trope this is. Um, and it was kind of the same thing with like a lot of the fan servicey moments in Dress Up Darling, actually, which is kind of most of the show. But it's also supposed to be a show like that because of the first thing that the two main characters bond over is a romanceable character. I'm going to say romanceable in quotes, a romanceable character option in a hentai game. So it's, anyways, or like Fire Force. It really took me out of it, like how gratuitous it was a lot of the times, and like how out of place and unnecessary it was, or like how much of just because there were times where there would be like big emotional moments or like big plot moments, like a big dramatic scene, and then it would be followed up immediately by like, now we're going to show you this woman getting accidentally stripped, and like, mm, it it really I don't know, it doesn't fit. Um, but yeah, I mean, I I don't like action anime nearly as much as I like some of the quote unquote like softer things or like horror. Um, because I think those genres, um, I haven't been overexposed to their cliches and tropes yet. I will say, as an American watching, I find it very interesting and also very frustrating, just endlessly frustrating, to see two characters talk around each other so much. And it so many times it really feels like so much of those shows' plots could be resolved with just being like, "Hey, I kind of like you," especially because at least in my experience in America, if you hang out with someone that you're attracted to for like a couple months, even in high school, like you usually say something to them. Um, even if even if you're terrified, you'd usually say something by then, you know? Um, but yeah, it's just fascinating to see that. I'm actually gonna pull up like what I'm watching right now. Uh, right. Also just some of the stuff that I've watched recently. Oh, I also watched Overlord. I really enjoyed Overlord just because it was fucking out there. And yeah, I also watched Buddy Daddies, which was a lot of fun to watch. That's actually one of the ones that I appreciate the most because like it knew when to stop. Because like after that story resolved, like there's nowhere else to go, and like making sure the door was shut at the end. Um, by and spoiler alert, showing them all when they're older. I think is really cool. It did also really make me think of like, I think the shippers for that show are right because these are two guys that like in their mid 20s, like two like pretty attractive dudes. And I will say like, actually I won't say this is going on YouTube. Sorry, I forgot which platform I'm posting on. But that was the first time I've shown restraint on one of my shows. I needed an award for that. But like this two dudes in like their mid to late 20s who are single, not dating or marrying, and they live together, and they also at the end own a restaurant together where it seems like they live above the restaurant. Like it really seems like that if we were to look at like historical information where that was the situation and they were raising a daughter together, I think we'd call them very close friends, if you know what I mean. Um so like, I understand shippers on that show especially. Um yeah, let's see what else have I watched. I've watched Hell's Paradise. I I still haven't. I've been wanting to watch it for a while, but I also don't because it. I can see it very easily disturbing me. But I have Goblin Slayer on my list. Vinland Saga. Kill la Kill, just because I. When I was first wanting to get back into anime, I watched Kill la Kill on YouTube. Weirdly enough, like the first three episodes were uploaded for free on YouTube in like a mega cut, and I watched it on YouTube, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is cool. Where can I find it?" And it was like, "Nope, you can't." So I kind of gave up on watching that, but I I'm I'm pausing because I'm just realizing that like that's the exact kind of show that I was just saying I think is cliched and dumb. Uh, but hear me out. I'm a hypocrite. So, uh, I mean, also, like, if you've seen anything around that show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Of like, I can sit here and complain as much as I want of like, the gratuitous nudity in some of these shows is like really out of place, and then say I really want to watch Kill la Kill. Like that's so much better. Um, uh, but yeah, and so right now, at the very least, with exception of like trying to keep up on like ancient mag ancient Magus's Bride and like Jujutsu Kaisen and stuff. Um, I currently watching Yormagond, which is that's a show where I know at the end everyone's gonna die. Um, and I'm going to be very sad about it, but I see it coming from a mile away, and I hate it, but I love the show because it's so fun. Um, and again, me being a hypocrite because that's an action anime, but it's also an action anime that's dealing with like some real shit. Uh, because like the main character is a fucking child soldier that's been brought in by an arms dealer to act as her bodyguard. Uh, but yeah, so I feel like I've answered the question. I do watch anime. I would have been watching it in my teenage years if I had met the right people at the right times, but I did not. I actually kind of gotta say that I'm happy about it. Because I'm the kind of person where like if I enjoy something, it becomes a part of my personality, and I really would prefer to not have a major part of my personality be taken up by uh you know the whatever influence watching shows like Death Note and Parasite at a young age would have had on me. Um or man, what were some of the other early shows I watched first? Yeah, just like those shows, I I don't want to think about the influence that those would have had on me. Uh, as a young man. Um, I do I do want to watch some more of like the actual movies, like anime movies. Um, especially um especially like Princess Mononoke and like Howl's Moving Castle. Um, those two in particular I really want to watch because those are the ones that I've heard like the best things about. I do also want to revisit Spirited Away because I think I've watched Spirited Away, but it was on like I think it was on Cartoon Network or something. Um, when I was little, I watched it on that. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's all I got. Uh, um, man, I managed to fill out that episode. I'm kind of surprised I filled out this episode. Um, I really would have thought that I wouldn't be able to do that. Um, but yeah, uh, thank you for watching and mostly listening because I don't really have visuals for this. But yeah, thank you for listening. Um, it means the world. It's awesome to have you all the way out here to the end. Um, yeah, have a good night. Be safe. Have fun. And I don't know. Watch some anime. Tell me what you like, or don't. I don't fucking know. Anyways, see ya. Night.